A man once said to me that a turning point should be a celebration of the moments that have brought possibility and excitement back into our lives. I knew that eventually the time would come where I'd have my own turning point, but I just didn't think it would come so quickly. You know, I've spent a lot of time in the same room making very similar things, and suddenly the time came where that all went. I no longer record on my bed looking out the same window I used to keep myself lit up. I see a future where this might work out. And many times I found it impossible to believe in anything, you know. I struggled to find a crappy job even at Starbucks, none of my talents seemed to be paying off, and all I did was question myself to death, but I think finally, things are looking up. It's a strange turning point, a long anticipated transition, but not a scary one. I think when change like this comes around, you have to embrace them, acknowledge them, and just go with it. If this is my turning point, then you've reminded me that I'm capable of joy. So, thank you. If possible, I hope we can keep on good terms. Would that be alright? Now, I can tell you with confidence that most of the best bands out there will simply never be found by anyone. You could be scrolling for hours and hours on Spotify or Apple Music and completely pass some of the best music you'll ever listen to. In the case of today's record, I got very lucky finding the band in question mere days after the release of their first single, and I can tell you now, it's been an amazing experience watching them grow and develop. I know that I normally start with some weird meme at the beginning of these videos, but that introduction was hardly even close to a meme. Task failed successfully, I guess. But I'm simply just so excited to discuss today's record because it means more to me than even I realised at first. So yeah, sorry lads, it's been a busy few weeks, or months, but I finally get to sing your praises. Get it? Because you're a band that sings. My god, I've really lowered the level of quality in these jokes. Sorry guys, I hope we can stay on good terms. Get it? Because you're a band called Good Terms. Digressing from those frankly abysmal attempts at humour, today I'm discussing the Los Angeles emo outfit Good Terms and their debut album entitled Turning Point, a record that's been on my anticipation list for quite a while, even since last September. And if you're wondering, yes, it is a real list that I own. It's filled with anything from upcoming records, films, games, the inevitable heat death of the universe, and Lego.
I have no money left.
For those of you that don't know, Good Terms are a recently emerging pop-punk/emo band from LA. And by recent, I mean pretty recent. I don't know why I tried expanding on that. Releasing their first single, Wither Away, way back in September of last year, this group of four best friends have been cranking out song after song ahead of their debut album, Turning Point, released on April 9th. To many, this may just be yet another emo band trying to make their way onto the scene, and I guess in a sense, that is exactly what they are. But for someone like me, someone who has been following them since they were conceived... Wait, no. Basically, my post on Wither Away was one of the first that I had done for an emerging band. Like, just emerging. Like, awkward boner you get when presenting to someone emerging. Okay, we're still good. It has been such a heartwarming and eye-opening experience witnessing the creation of this debut album from the ground up. It's when you get messages like these that make it worthwhile sticking around. Like, this is awesome. It touched me. All four of you did. That's even worse than the first one. From every stream on Twitch to every out there post on Instagram, I've been there, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing this journey with you guys. But of course, all this background information and sentimentality is trivial if the album sucks harder than those weird suction cup things that you get on octopuses or octopi. Is it octopuses or octopuses? Octopi? If the album sucks, okay? If it's really, really bad. Luckily for this band, it's anything but bad. Good, in fact. Spectacular, even! Their 11-track debut, Turning Point, is a sensational and cathartic hit of pop-punk from a highly empathetic band, one that I'm happy to consider my friends. I can't believe I've finally completed my lifelong dream of having friends. Starting a band within the pandemic was never going to be easy, but Good Terms have shown us exactly how it's done. Their upbeat form of emo and pop-punk was a pleasant change in tone for the usual stereotypes. You know, the sad ones. They themselves describe the album or the turning point as, quote, waking from a bad dream and receiving a new lease on happiness and joy. With this unconventional tone, the album confronts themes ranging from, quote, disillusion with adulthood, complacency within relationships, and a desire to break free from living a passionless life. Jesus. and I thought some of my writing was depressing. But underlying all of this is a collective aim for joy and to not waste moments. Mixed into this thematic melting pot is their idiosyncratic style of emo and pop punk, one that alleviates some of the melancholy to form a profoundly upbeat sound. Branding themselves as your friendly neighborhood emo band, you can kind of expect the sound that we're looking for, and they do not disappoint on that front. Good Terms maintains a diverse sonic palette that spans from anthemic emo pop to double-time hardcore, plus everything you know and love within the scene. There's an overarching confidence within every track, and with the band's combined background experience in the industry, it's no wonder it feels that way. So much confidence, in fact, that they had the balls to release 6 singles. Or 7, I could never really tell, but man, I wish I had that much confidence.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Before getting into specific tracks, I want to pay special mention to the choice of album art. It might seem quite hectic at first glance, but if you take a deep dive into it, you'll realise that there's actually a reference to every single song on the album. It collates every piece into one picture that's a perfect visual representation for the album, and I have to commend artist Wakaxano Aziz for his work. Sorry, I'd make a joke, but I just want to make sure that I got the name right. I likely didn't. Wakaxano changes there. Nailed it. Introducing us to this emo masterpiece, or whatever I just called it there, is the band's second single, All I Can. This track incorporates every element of Good Terms' sound into one concise package, from their infectious choruses to their constantly impressive breakdowns. Starting with a faded version of their lead riff, this track explodes into a fast-paced pop-punk tune. From the buzzing electric guitars played by Ivan Barricaded Myself In and Zach, I'm Not Having a Good Day, How About Ya? I cannot believe I was proud of those. To the emphatic vocals from lead Brian McSheesh, and not to forget the driving bass lines from Gio Dude. Everything and everyone blends so well together, with all these elements forming this crashing opener for the band to really get us going. What follows this statement of an introductory track is not 1, not 2, but 3 singles, each of which builds on the previous song, except Light at the End, but we'll get to that one. That's just made of a different cloth, man. God, I'm sweating just thinking about it. That or it's really hot.
I think my eyes have melted.
Hamster Wheel comes next and places its lead riff at the forefront of the track. It jumps straight into its dynamic guitar lick, one that forms the strong foundation for the chorus and everything that follows. This repetitive progression actually plays a vital thematic role, since Hamster Wheel talks about not getting stuck in this monotonous loop that life can sometimes end up being. It's a reminder to make the most of the time in front of us and stop dwelling on past mistakes. Bringing in subtle backing screams by the end, this message is accentuated to quite the degree and leads us into arguably the best song on the entire album. Light at the End is not only a very relevant song in terms of its lyrical content, which we will get to, but its recurring riff is one of the catchiest and most memorable of the entire year so far. The opening lead riff is so confident in its execution, with the higher notes overriding the heavier backing rhythm guitars. Its range from the intro to the screaming pre-chorus to even the 3 rapid solos within the bridge makes this one hell of a listen and a standout track amongst the other 10. Not that the other songs are bad by any means, it's just this song, you know, it makes me feel things. Moreover, the topics at hand in this track are handled very maturely in what seems like a very upbeat track. When faced with periods of declining self-worth, financial hardships, and fear of growing up, happiness and just feeling content can seem like insurmountable goals. Especially during the pandemic, the path that we hoped could take us there has become increasingly difficult to visualize. Light at the End reminds us that even when life continues to give us defeat and despair, we must believe, even if there's no evidence to support it, that things will be okay. Things can always get better. There is the quite literal light at the end. Well, there you go, there's about as on the nose as you can get. It's a rousing statement in an already mind-blowing song. It presents us with the best Good Terms have to offer within the emo scene. Continuing on, we have the band's first single, Wither Away, a song that I've become very attached to. This was the 10th post I had ever done for the PunkStance's Instagram page, way back on the 15th of September last year. Specific, I know, but, you know, I just have a knack for remembering these little, What am I doing again? It was also the first debut single I'd ever covered for a band, way before Singled Out was even a thing, and I was very nervous. Luckily, the band came back with a very heartwarming comment, unlike what I get now. This was back before I was getting the, hey, you should totally promote on this channel, 5M lol comments, which I get about 6 of every 3 minutes. That is literally the most annoying thing I can ever think of. Chris Traeger. Wither Away established Good Terms' grip on the scene, integrating both the classic 90s and early 2000s tropes of pop punk with a much more modern emo twinge. The light-hearted, catchy beats of the tune hide a deeper message about not wasting your youth. We all wish we could stay young, so make the most of it while you still are. However, Wither Away is by no means defeatist, regardless of what the title implies. It embraces the idea of growing up, and rather than deterring you from it, just reminds you that you're capable of so many things at any age. Mix these juxtaposing yet impactful messages, the excellent fluidity of both the rhythm and lead guitars throughout, as well as a killer breakdown, and you can see why this band piqued my interest way back last year. Oh, I keep reminding myself of how late this is. I'm sorry guys, I hope we can stay on. You get the idea. The next single, Pedestal, is arguably the heaviest track on the record, but I say that knowing that things like Chess exist. I love Chess, don't get me wrong, but Pedestal is something else. So, let's see if Pedestal's any better. Evidently, the group have helped to modernise and revive the emo pop-punk scene with their melodic and fiery guitar-forward rock music, but I think that's most apparent in both Light at the End and Pedestal. This track once again presents the band's knack for complex yet catchy lead riffs, one that leads into their punk rock-inspired verses. Furthermore, these choruses are just as impressive, sticking to the catchiness of the previous verses and leading into violent screams full of emotional turmoil. These screams are also well thought out due to the song's thematic relevance. Pedestal is about the frustration from being let down by our idols, our heroes, and our anger towards ourselves for letting that disappointment affect us so viscerally. It's disheartening watching those we admire create something not only bad but untrue for all the wrong reasons, and Good Terms highlights this authenticity through their songwriting and instrumentation. The final one or two singles, again never figured it out, are Useless Things and the closing title track Turning Point, both of which open with a much more reserved, somber tone. Useless Things is a dedicated slow ballad about relationships, a quintessential piece of the emo puzzle. It discusses the inner turmoil experience when you know you need to end the aforementioned relationship but don't have the strength to do it. You know, like that guy that killed his father on a bridge from Star Wars? You know the meme where you know the meme I'm talking about, right? Cool. More like Stylo Ren, cause Adam Driver be looking flash. I'll touch that saber, Adam Driver. Turning Point, on the other hand, summarises the notions of the entire album in its 4.5-minute runtime, with a starting ballad and ending on a pop-punk crescendo. As I said in the starting piece, Turning Point is a celebration of the moments that have brought possibility and excitement back into our lives. Sometimes all it takes to shake us from this pessimistic illusion that is life is a small but genuine act of kindness or passion or warmth. When these moments hit, they can feel like waking up from a bad dream and receiving a new lease on happiness and joy. This uplifting sentiment certainly comes through in the energy of the track, peaking with numerous hammering breakdowns. A spoken word outro brings this perfect contrast of hardcore and tenderness to a close, vowing that it's not going to be this way forever. We can only hope. Do the other tracks stand out as much as the singles? Let's find out and get to the highlights. Now, where have I heard that before? A highly compelling opener that tells us everything we need to know about this sexy, sexy band. Campy, but effective. This track is so goddamn good. I don't know about you guys, but I can definitely see a light at the end of my penis. I should probably go and get that looked at. This got me into the band. It's kind of why I'm here talking about it. So it's good.
It's probably the best of the songs that's not a single. It's got a very strong bridge, unlike this one.
Short but pulpy and teeming with hardcore edge. I think the term is slaps? Whatever you guys were wearing for the music video, I want one. It took me a while to realise they weren't talking about me. A beautiful ballad regardless. It's really good, but honestly I keep forgetting it's on the album. Sorry guys, all your other songs are just too damn good. Title track hits hard, good choice to end on it. Sometimes you can just tell when a band has the potential to get big, and when I first bumped into Good Terms, that's exactly what I expected for them. They are just one of those bands that will click with every fan of the genre thanks to their familiar yet all their own sound, one that is backed by smart production and songwriting. As the band come up to their year anniversary, again, sorry about that, guys, I'd like to think that Turning Point is as strong a debut as you can get. Their amalgamation of anthemic emo and upbeat hardcore is one to remember, and I wish the band every success that's coming to them. And with that, I can close the book on this at last. Again, I'm really sorry for it coming out in like July or August or whenever this is. I don't know. I hope that we can... No, you can't say it again. You can't say it. Good Terms!